here's my take on traditional grip versus matched grip. Of course, you know traditional grip and the history behind traditional grip, and if you don't, then here's a short lesson on the historic background of traditional grip. In the olden times, when drummers were leading the infantry into battle in the military, they were carrying very large field drums in front of them on a strap around their shoulders, and those drums were large. They were 16 inches at least in diameter, and they were all like 16 or 18 inches deep. Not very heavy, but big and clumsy. And those guys used to march with these drums strapped onto them right between their legs, just like this pad here now between my legs. And they were marching and playing these drums. Fantastic. This is not a problem if you're walking on a street or pretty plain road or surface, but this becomes a huge issue if you are walking in terrain, somewhere across the field into battle, through mud, hills and mountains and so on, and you have to keep time to keep that army marching. So falling down and stumbling over your drum is not going to be very helpful. So what those guys did, they took the whole drum and hung it on their hip, not in front of their legs, between their legs, but now they put it on their hip so they could walk completely unobstructedly and freely and move their legs and step up onto rocks and stairs and what have you, and still be able to play the drum. Of course, they played the drum like this. The surface was now at an angle and right next to their hip, basically, just like this. So this is a very awkward position to play the drums. So what those guys did was, after an hour in the battlefield or marching, whatever, their shoulder got really, really sore. So what the guys did, they just left the stick in this position, but just grabbed it from underneath, like so. Now their shoulder was completely relaxed, and they were still able to hit the surface and play that drum. Now, of course, this is a rotation of the forearm. This is a completely different movement, but it allowed them to still play those basic marching rhythms and not have a sore shoulder or not fall down in the mud all the time because they would stumble over their own drum. So this is how traditional grip happened. It's a desperate solution to a really silly problem which we as modern drummers and drum set players do not have to deal with. We don't have issues stumbling over our drums, but a lot of us still use this grip. And in fact, I used this grip for 35 years or more, because my first drum teacher when I was 4 years old said to me, "This is how you hold the stick." And of course I did, and that's how I started playing the drums and how I learned and kept playing the drums for many, 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 many years. 35 years. Until I actually switched to match grip, which is what I use now pretty much all of the time. I still play traditional grip and I still have all my chops basically, although I haven't practiced this for many, many years, but I've done so much practicing with this over the years that it's still there somehow.